Well, I'm talking with Jeff Baxter, who's with ThermoFisher Scientific, formerly Life Technologies, and we're talking about trichomoniasis here at this conference in Omaha, and some of the challenges with standardizing some of the testing and analysis and so on for that disease, and just really trying to get at a lot of the finer points of making it more effective, more convenient for producers to control this disease, keep it out of their herds. I wonder if you could just kind of summarize some of the things that you talked about this morning in the conference here.
Well, John, I think a couple of things that we really need to consider is how this breaks into two parts. One part is the standardization of the testing that takes place at the labs, and the other one is the standardization of the regulations on a state-by-state basis. And I think as you look at the regulations on a state-by-state basis, those have broke down into four areas. One would be the age of animal. So we have some states at 12, some states at 24 on the test of the age of the animal, and I think we're probably going to try to settle out somewhere in the middle, like the state of Kansas is at about 18 months of age in terms of the testing. Then how long the test is good for. Okay, yeah. So 30 to 60 days is kind of the range that we're looking at, and I think the bottom line is what's more convenient for that producer and veterinarian. I think the 60 days is what really needs to be the target. And then we take that to the next level and say, okay, what type of testing is approved by the state from a regulatory perspective? And your two options are culture or PCR. We've really seen a huge move towards the higher level technology of the use of PCR, and that particular technology I think holds the promise for the future in managing this disease. You know, I think Kansas once again stepped out and they actually established PCR as the only test that they would accept, and I think that's a big step in the right direction, because culture, quite frankly, is not as good a test. And then the last thing that I'd say is whether the pooling of samples at the laboratory is accepted from a state regulatory perspective, and we have 11 states out of the 26 that actually have regulations right now that have validated pooling of samples, and I think that that's a testament to the quality and consistency that we can get with pooling. It's not as high of an accuracy as what you would get with a single sample, but it's one that's very palatable with the producers and with veterinarians, and it also creates the ability to get the highest quality technology, PCR, at an affordable price. And so those are the four things: age of animal, how many days the test is good for, do they allow PCR as a testing method, or is that the preferred, and is pooling of samples something that's allowed from a state regulatory perspective. Now, from a lab side of things, state lab perspective, that gets into what is the recommendation on sample collection, sample handling, what do they use from a sample preparation perspective in that lab, and what else influences the overall workflow to end at a confident result that they're going to communicate back to that veterinarian and producer. And I think we really need to find some consistency. We need to find some things that we can get some common ground on. And, here's what we know today that we can make a move on and really agree to. And then if there's research that needs to be done to fine-tune around that, then let's do that. But let's find that common ground. And the ultimate goal, John, in my opinion, is to build confidence with the producer and veterinarian in the testing that's being done for trich at multiple labs.